Ranking all abilities in game. All right, here we go, chat. First up, Brimstone. All right, chat. The first ability is Brimstone's Molly.
Molly.
Oh, that's a tough one, dude. I feel like, dude, Brimstone's Molly, I feel like is actually very strong. Yeah, because actually it does a lot more damage than any of the other fire abilities in the game, like Phoenix's throw. And it can lock down corners pretty heavily. The only issue with it is it doesn't last very long. But I think it's good for holding a bomb plant, things like that. I mean, you can use it pretty strategically, like at the end of rounds to hold off people. It's hard to say, dude. Honestly, I think I'd put it at B. All right, next up, Brimstone Stim.
Stim beacon down.
So I used to, when the game first came out, I thought the stims sucked. Like, honestly, I didn't see any point in it. I played quite a bit of Brim now. I actually think the stims I think it's low-key underrated. Like, the stim can be very powerful, especially if you're good at like controlling your recoil and say a Vandal, because it kind of brings it more in line with say a Phantom in terms of the attack speed. The only issue with it though is just like I feel like a lot of times it requires a lot of coordination, so you have to have a team that like you're good at playing with. That way you know when to use it. Honestly, it doesn't have very many downsides. It does give away your position. I think I'll put it in C tier, dude. Next up we have Brimstone Smokes. So
Smokes down.
This is a tough one, dude. I think Brimstone Smokes are much worse than Omen Smokes. The reason being they don't regenerate and he can't shoot him across the map. You have to be pretty close to the area you actually want to smoke to throw it down. What is good about them is inside the smoke you can't see anything and they lock down sites very well. I think I'll put his smokes at a B. Finally his ult, dude, honestly Brimstone's ult's pretty hype. Brimstone's ult's really good. It's got to be between A and S because Brimstone's ult does so much. You can flush people out of a corner to force them onto you to fight. You can stop a bomb plant and literally win a round just by winning the bomb plant. You can hold people from fast pushes. You can separate a team. It's pretty quick. I mean, you can launch it pretty quick. Obviously, you could get shot while you're doing it, but it's so fast. If you're positioned well, it's not going to happen. Dude, honestly, I almost want to... I don't know if I'd say S. I think it's an A. I'm gonna put it at A because you can get caught out with it, and obviously it can be countered by like a lot of the times if you throw it out, a team will just run back the other way and hold. But even then, it gives you position info. I'm gonna say a high A, almost S. I would say almost S, very very close to S. All right, next up we have Breach. So I don't use Breach that much. In fact, I don't think I've ever. Breach is the only hero in the game I haven't played. No, let's save him for last because I actually don't know his abilities that well. Okay, next up we have Cypher. So Cypher, first up we have his Cage.
Cage trigger.
I think Cypher's Cage, I'd give it, I think I'm gonna go on C. And the reason I'm gonna put Cypher's Cage on C is just because it's good in the sense that it gives him offensive ability and obviously you can hold off pushes. But the problem with the Cage is even though you can hear the person when they go through it, there's a lot of outplays you can make, so you can go into a cage, keep going back and forth to kind of freak out the other team. It doesn't last very long, so if someone throws a cage to hold you back, literally it's only going to last a couple seconds. So it doesn't hold off a team like say an Omen or Brim Smoke would as well. It's a decent ability, but I honestly don't think it's that strong. Like I'd put, some people would say Cage is a B. I see some of you guys saying B. I think Cage is C, 100%. I don't think it's that strong, dude. Next up, we have his Trapwire. I'd say, dude, Trapwire is an A. I'd say Trapwire is an A. And the reason for that is because what Trapwire does, not so much even if someone's pushing a site and you catch them, but Trapwire catches flanks. So whether you're on offense or defense, you can just throw a Trapwire down at like basically a chokehold that they have to push through. And even if they destroy it and don't get hit by it, that's gonna give you so much information. So you're gonna know there's a flanker. You're gonna know there's at least one person on a certain spot on the map. Like the thing about Cypher that makes him like the most winning hero in the game right now, the most picked hero, is straight up the fact of information, right? Because like in a game like Valorant, it's all about information. And I feel like Trapwire, you literally do nothing. You just put it down and you just wait. Next up, the camera. I'd say I'd put camera in A. I'd say A tier too. What do you guys think? A tier? I think camera's A tier. I'm almost like, dude, part of me wants to put it in S, but I think that's too high. The camera's strong for obvious reasons. I mean, you can watch angles without even peeking them. You can check flanks. You can use it aggressively to try and see if there's someone on the corner. His ult, I think his ult's okay. I give it a B.
Give me a corpse.
I honestly, I don't think his ult's that ridiculous. A lot of people say it's super, super powerful. I think the problem with Cypher ult is you have to get so close to a dead body, which as Cypher is pretty tough because a lot of times you're going to be holding defensive angles with your camera on site. So you not only do you have to kill someone that you're aggressing onto, or on offense you have to like rush in with the team. But you have to be so close. It shows you where the enemies are, which is very helpful. But at the end of the day, you have to stack up 7 to get it. I just don't think it's worth how long it takes to get. All right, next up we have Jet.
Enemy spotted.
First we have her smokes. I'm gonna give her smokes a C. They're short lasting. They don't do very much. They're very quick and they show you where Jet is. The only good part about them is you can cover them around corners. It works in Jet's kit specifically very well just because she can op and throw him down really fast and get out of a sticky situation. But I think the skill on its own isn't very strong. Next up, her uplift. I mean, I'll give her uplift a C. I don't think it necessarily does anything on its own very strong. Once again, like, I don't think any of Jet's abilities are very strong on their own. I think the only thing that makes Jet so powerful is the combination of her abilities, but on its own, uplift isn't very strong. Jet's dash, I'll give her dash a B. It doesn't accomplish very much in terms of like taking a site like a smoke would or a flash would. But it definitely helps you, especially as an opper. That's an insane skill. Like being able to op and then instantly dash to the side, that's huge, dude. For her ult, I would give her ult an A. I mean, obviously being able to use your skills with perfect accuracy, even though you're jumping and shit, is ridiculously strong. The knives aren't very powerful at range though. You still have to have very good aim. Once again, her ult is pretty powerful on its own, but what makes it S tier is if you combine all of the abilities. Like Jet as a character with these 4 abilities is ridiculously strong right now, especially with op. But on her own, if you took any one of these abilities and gave it to another hero on its own, it wouldn't be very strong. Next up, dude, okay, so now we have Omen, and this is probably the character I've played most in Valorant so far, so this is probably who I can speak to the most. So first up, we have Shrouded Step. This is a tough one, man. I'm gonna say Shrouded Step. I'm gonna give it a B, and the reason I thought about giving it an A, just because it is a very powerful ability. It's so loud though. So Shrouded Step allows you to teleport, to different locations like near yourself. It's really powerful if, for example, on split, I like to hold A site. A site, and I like to actually watch the long position, and if people rush me, I'll just TP to the other side so they don't know I'm there. It's really good at range because people won't be able to guess where you're going. There's a ton of outplay potential. I guess the only issue with it is if you're playing against a good opponent, and they know you have the ability, they're gonna know there's a potential for you to kind of switch between different vantage points, so they're probably gonna start to hold a tighter angle. In terms of his flash, Omen's flash is ridiculously strong. I think, honestly, I'd think about putting S tier, but I'd say A. I'd say it's like middle to high A. Omen's flash is ridiculously strong. If you get flash, you can only see right next to yourself. You can get an entire team with it. It's hard to dodge because it's very quick. So like by the time you see it coming, if you're it's usually too late, and then at that point you just have to hide because you can't even see. So next up we have Omen's smoke. That's ridiculously strong. Omen's smoke is honestly, I think Omen's smoke is an S tier. The reason Omen's smoke is an S tier is because you can literally throw this thing from across the map, and this thing lasts for a long time. Like the ability to smoke off any of your allies or any of the enemies at like basically any point on the map, no matter where you are, is ridiculously strong. Honestly, I'd give Omen's ult an A. It's good for getting information. Obviously, you can TP into the middle of a site, see if there's anyone there, and then know if you can go or not. You can make really crazy plays. If you TP to a good spot, you can catch people out. It's ridiculously strong. The only reason I'm not going to give it S tier is it's so choreographed. Just because, I mean, you like if Omen ults, you're immediately scared. Like you're thinking, oh, he's over here, he's over here. So with Phoenix, I played a lot of Phoenix recently. First up is Firewall. Honestly, I think Firewall just is not that strong. The only thing it does is it can cut off, points of interest. That way you can maybe rotate and things like that. But even with the Firewall, it doesn't last very long. And if you just have people suppressing fire down on the spot that a Phoenix throws it, you can basically force a Phoenix or his teammates to not rotate on it. Next up, his Flash. Honestly, I'd give Phoenix's Flash, do you guys think A or B? I'd put it between A and B. This is a hard one. So I'm gonna give Phoenix's Flash a B. The flash is very good, and if someone gets caught by it, in almost every case, if you have decent aim, you're probably going to mess them up. But the problem with it is it's very choreographed. Like almost every time, I always hold corners tight, like most players. So if you see a Phoenix flash, you just hide behind the corner and then instantly peek on him, or just wait. Next up, his fire. I give his fire a C. I mean, it can heal you, it can flush people out of a corner. It does quite a bit of damage, and it lasts for a decent amount of time. Last up, Phoenix's ult. I'd honestly give it an S. Phoenix's ult is ridiculously powerful. I mean, the ability to just run onto a site and just act like an idiot and just be able to get all the information you want, all the kills you want, and then you die and you just go straight back to your hero. It's ridiculous. This is one of the strongest ults in the game, 100%. Next up, we have Raze. Her Boombot, I give her Boombot, I'd say a high C or a low B. It's very choreographed. You know it's coming. It can kill people. Good players are just going to shoot it down. I mean, if you go with the bot, they're probably going to shoot it, which means you have a little bit of time to shoot them before they go to your head. Her blast packs, honestly, I think I'd say the same. I give her blast packs a B. The only reason being is very good Raze players can use the blast packs to kind of like fly through the map. Next up, grenade. I'd give the grenade a high B. Yeah, I'd say high B on the grenade. It can flush people out of corners. It explodes pretty quickly, so it'll catch people even if like they hear it coming originally. Obviously, you know, if you catch someone in like a Sage slow or in a corner, they're going to be screwed. They're just going to get wrecked by this thing. You know, I'm going to give it an A, because that's just a very strong skill. Okay, next up, chat, we have Sage. So Sage has changed a lot recently. Sage used to be a lot better than she was. But with the recent 1.07 patch, she's obviously a little worse. So first up, we have her wall. Her wall used to be ridiculously strong. And game changing. I'm gonna give her a wall a mid B. But the wall is just so bad, man. I'd put it, I think B, I think middle B. What do you guys think? I mean, it starts degenerating really quickly. It's just way worse than it used to be. Next up, we have her freezing field. Her freezing field is still quite strong. I would also put that in like a B. It doesn't last nearly as long as it used to, and it doesn't cover the same area that it used to either. It's actually a little more predictable than it used to be. But the fact that they lowered down how long it lasts and things like that, it's still a very strong skill. If you pair it with something like a Raze grenade or a Phoenix, you know, fire or Brimstone, Molly, things like that, it can be devastating, or even just using it to hold them pushing onto site. Next up, her heal. Her heal used to be very, very strong. Now I would just give her heal. Honestly, I'd give her heal a low B. And the reason I say that is in a lot of cases in Valorant, you're either going to die in the engagement, and if you don't, you probably are at very low health or mid health. So now that Sage can only heal you at like 65 health, like it's just not as strong as it used to be, because you're probably going to have no armor anyways. The fact that you can't go from 1 health to 100 and you have a standing chance, it kind of hurts it a lot, right? Because then you're always in one tap range. I just don't think her heal has a really big impact anymore. All right, next up, chat, we have her res. I'd say her res is an S tier though. Like Raze, the thing that makes Sage still like decently strong, the thing that makes Sage still pickable even with all her nerfs, is the fact that she has a res as her ult. Like being able to res one of your teammates can completely change the tide of a battle. Like if you're in a 2v2 pushing back to take site after they planted, if you res someone on that and it's 3v2, you have a huge advantage going in. Next up we have Sova. I don't play Sova a lot, but I used to. In beta, I played him quite a bit. Sova Shock Dart, honestly, I'd give it a low B. Like before, I would have said Sova Shock Dart was a C, but against a good player, they're very annoying to go against. After that, Sova's Drone. I mean, I'd give Sova's Drone a low B. It's good for scouting. The only issue is, like if you catch Sova while she's doing it, she's gonna, she can't fight back. She's gonna die easily. It's hard to aim the drone stuff. If you mark someone, that's good. They have to take off the mark. But usually, if you're already droning, you're probably not on site to actually capitalize on marking someone. You're gonna have to rely on your teammates. Yeah, I'd say. Wait, was she? Dude, did I just assume Sova's gender? Next, we got the arrow defined. I'd say this arrow's like a mid to low B. Sova's ult, I think her ult's maybe a high B. I don't think Sova's ult's that great. I feel like half the time you can dodge it pretty easily. Against a good Sova, they might hit you once, but then if you just do some, faking back and forth, usually you won't get caught.